What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning ERISLANDY LARA. He is training hard, and his coach feels that he can extend his career like Bernard Hopkins. The WBA regular junior middleweight champion ERISLANDY LARA is back to training as he waits to receive word on his next ring return. If a last-minute change does not occur, Lara, 26-3-3 with 15 KOs, should be returning to the ring in late August or early September, as a part of the series card to land on Fox Sports from Premier Boxing Champions. Veteran coach ERISLANDY Salas, who trains Lara, believes the 37-year-old boxer, who has the tools, the personal discipline, to extend his career in a similar manner to Bernard Hopkins, who fought beyond 50. Lara is very technically sound, and this is what he had to say. He said, "I've spoken a lot with Lara, and we have agreed that if he does what is necessary and takes care of himself as he should, there will be no problem for him to extend his sports life for a longer period of time. He is now 37 years old, but he is not a beaten boxer, nor has he led a complicated life. He can be like Hopkins," Salas told George Ebro. Wow. Okay. What are my thoughts? Let me counterpunch. ERISLANDY LARA. Okay. At one point, Lara was, along with Mayweather, and I know those were the two top fighters that took the least punishment because their defense IQ was so high. Okay. And I seen him, and a lot of people criticized Lara for running. You know, they said he's a runner. He doesn't like to fight. You know, what it really is Lara is a boxer, okay? And he had quick legs, very long arms. I think he has 74-inch reach. And Lara was the kind of guy that he could strike fast with a sniper left hand and then either elude so you can't counter, okay? He is a problem for any fighter, especially boxer punches, because a boxer puncher such as like Canelo Alvarez, for example, he's accustomed to a person to throw a certain amount of punches so he can get a counter punch off. Well, if a pure boxer is sticking and moving and using his defense and not giving that counter puncher, that boxer puncher, counter punching possibilities and capabilities, you're going to see a nightmare. That's why Lara did what he did to Canelo, because Canelo was looking for him to over submit. That's what counter punchers do. They want to set traps like that. But in Canelo's case, he couldn't set those traps because Lara wasn't falling for him. Now, that was a very long time ago, back in 2014. I think that was July 12th when those guys squared off. However, okay, he's 37 years old. That's been 6 years ago. He was 31 at the time. I've seen his last few fights, and I love Lara as a boxer. I love a pure boxer that knows how to box, move, and does things the right way. I like to see that because that's his style. But what I've noticed is that when he fought, what's the guy's name? The DC fighter. I'm looking at him. Swift, okay? When he fought Swift Hurd, right? When he fought Garrett Hurd, he struggled because he didn't use his legs. And my question was it because he couldn't use them as much because he's getting older? Is he really on old legs now? Or he decided to fight because the fans made it seem like he was a runner and they didn't like his fighting style? I went to a Lara fight once, and people booed that fight. He fought Goucher. Even he got a knockdown on Goucher, but people didn't like that because I feel that you had Hurd versus Trout, which was a great fight. You also had Jermell Charlo knocking out, I forget his name. It wasn't Goucher. I forget the guy's name. I think it was Goucher. So who did Lara fight? I forget who he fought. I think he was fighting Goucher. But there were some fantastic knockouts. So, of course, the main event was supposed to be the main event. It's supposed to be exciting or whatnot. But Lara, kept it at a minimum. So maybe he decided to change his style when it did come to Jarrett Hurd. And Jarrett Hurd did bully him because the size difference and all that jazz, right? Well, can Lara, at 37 years old, become like a Bernard Hopkins? Well, you haven't heard his name in the newspaper. You haven't heard him with bad habits. You see him, spending time with his family. You don't see him like drinking a lot. He mostly stays in shape. So he's a slender guy anyway. He's not a very big guy. He could do that, but what I've noticed in the past, he's taken more punishment. Let me look up his box rec real quick, because let's do a little counterpunching and looking at his resume for a second. Brian Castaño, right? It was a draw. Okay, he took a lot of punishment in that, but he got off some good shots. He knocked out Ramon Alvarez and Greg Vendetti. I never heard of him, so I don't know anything about him. But Ramon is Canelo's brother, so that's kind of like his counterpunch to Canelo. Okay, so I feel that it was Goucher he fought, but can Lara fight? But the question is, would he want to fight past his years? See, that's my biggest fear with fighters, especially skilled fighters, staying in there too long and not having a discernment and a cutoff point with when to stop fighting. Okay, at 37 years old, I'll say this: since he's such a good defensive fighter, that's kept him in there. But he's past his prime now, people. I wouldn't personally want to see him fight, but I think he could. To answer the question, I think he could. So I believe that he could do that. I believe that he could fight past his years, but I really wouldn't want to see that happen. Anyway, you guys tell me what you think about ERISLANDY LARA. Will he be able to live up to Hopkins' career? Speaking of Hopkins, I don't really believe that he would fight. I don't think anybody should do that. I mean, straight through your career and fight that old. Because when Bernard Hopkins done that, he got knocked out of the ring. That was his last fight. A guy, Joe Smith, knocked him out of the ring. So I don't want to see that happen to Lara. Because if that happened to Lara, it can happen to everybody or anybody. And that happens to some of the best boxers. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think about ERISLANDY LARA. Will he be able to continue his career, extend his career? Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.